Welcome to the Passion Professors Podcast, hosted by Earth University, where stories of life experience and purpose inspire and unite humanity. Here's your host, Lindsay Andreotti.
Welcome, everybody, to the Passion Professors Podcast. I'm Lindsay Andreotti, your host today, and I am so fortunate to bring to your attention this lovely man, Jedediah Collins. Hi, Jedediah. Thank you.
Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning. I am super excited about your message and what you're going to share with our audience today about your passion. Jedediah has a company called Money Vehicle. See, I can't even say the word today. Money Vehicle. And his true energy is to bring information to 15 to 25-year-olds who are wanting to begin their own financial future and really get their stuff together. And Jedediah has a lot of experience and a lot of his own stories that he gets to share, and I'm hoping we get to hear some of those today. He's a former NFL player, a current certified financial planner, best-selling author, and an adjunct professor at one of my favorite universities in the whole world, Washington State University.
Go Cougs.
Finance. I know, go Cougs. So, Jedediah, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, your energy is infectious. I am very excited to share my message with your audience, and truly just thank you for the opportunity. This is going to be a fun and easy conversation, I'm sure, but more importantly, this is really a passion that we get to share, so thank you.
Yay. Well, you truly are a passion professor. When we met, I knew right away, it's like, oh, here's somebody who's living on purpose and in his passion. And I'm really curious. We're going to start a little bit in the further back machine so that we can get to understanding how you got to here. So tell us the story of how you went from NFL player to now finance adjunct professor. That's just so cool. Give us a little story.
Well, it honestly, and as positive it is today, my journey began out of fear. I was playing in the National Football League, which is an amazing experience, an amazing journey. I unfortunately and fortunately did not have the traditional career. I was cut 12 times, which, on different podcasts, we could talk all about the mindset and around how I actually consider myself a great failure. But being one of the players who were journeymans and getting released and cut so much, my first paycheck I truly enjoyed and I was excited and I had earned, and I spent it the day I got it. Now, I will give a little disclosure. I bought an engagement ring, and my wife and I are very happily married after 10 years. So it was a wise investment. Yeah. But it was a very poor financial decision, and I tell her that to her face. So I look at that, and that first paycheck, it came in and it went, and I actually woke up that night and the next night in kind of sweat and angst and knots because I had also been researching the physical toll football was going to be putting on me. And the statistics and the research was coming out around, well, how many players are truly capturing this NFL dream we're all chasing? At 10 years old, they're like, hey, here's a ball. Imagine if you became a millionaire professional athlete.
Right.
And the reality was very few athletes are leaving their game with anything to show for it. And I knew in my position, having been cut, my career was going to come to an end before I really knew it. But I wanted to be one of those fortunate few, the minority, only about 30% who leave the game and years later still have something to show for it. So I questioned and I challenged my relationship with money, which, again, I made money, I spent money, I was a spendor. And so now as I turn that frame, I start to challenge my classes and my students. How long do you actually see money? Do you see it in a day-to-day time frame? Not a problem. Just recognize it. You're a spender, like we all are. Yeah. But there's two other types of ors. There's a savor and there's an investor. Now, they don't all end in OR, but for marketing purposes, I like to say what type of or. And so that was my first challenge. Was my first check came and went as a spender. Yeah. I went and started reading personal finance books at Borders bookstores, as many as I could grab. And I became a saver, and I started to say, all right, I'm just going to stockpile as much money from the game as I can, and that will be success. And it wasn't until I was really introduced to the third party, the investor, who doesn't see money day to day or even year to year, but starts to see money on a decade time frame, that I started to see what the investor mindset was and how to really make money go to work for me. And that was kind of the origin, that was happening while playing in the NFL, hiding books and study materials on buses and planes, and really just diving into it all.
That is such a great story. And how many people do I know, many, that have literally come home and said, wow, I've worked all these years doing this much stuff and I have nothing to really show for it, So I love your mission. And I love what you're about. So why, 15 to 25-year-olds? Obviously, this is an age group that probably has the least amount of awareness, for sure.
Or money.
And as to what their money can do for them, right? Or
Yes.
even how they can get it, let alone how they could save it, invest it, et cetera. So why that age group? What's the passion behind that?
Well, it's interesting. So I was in the NFL and I was challenged by a mentor. Once I kind of dove into this world, he said, hey, I can give you fish all day long, but if you really want to understand, you got to teach yourself how to fish. And so he challenged me to get my CFP and become a certified financial planner with the intention and the hopes of I would become an advisor and I'd go get a group of families and help them find their financial freedom. But as I kind of went down this road, I started to realize guys in the locker room were asking me tons of questions. My brothers, who one was getting his master's in engineering at Berkeley, the other was getting his law degree at Harvard, very academic mindsets. They were asking Jed, the jock brother, money questions about money. And I was like, wait a minute, something's not right here. And as I came to really understand it, I eventually did go into wealth management. I became an advisor. I went out and I was finding success in that path. And I saw my career and I said, I know this journey. I know where it leads and I see where it could take me. But what really wakes me up on a week-to-week basis? What do I look at when I look at my week? What was I most excited about? Yeah. Ooh, I got to go to this high school and deliver a workshop. This company brought me in to talk to their young professionals. And I continue to look at these arenas and say, that's really what I want to do. As an advisor, it's a pivotal job. It's a very important job, but you really guide people to the end of their journey. And I thought the void and the gap in education and empowerment was really happening at the beginning of people's journeys. And so that's where I wanted to go out and start to educate and empower people to start taking actions, because everybody I run into says the same thing. If only I would have started earlier. If only somebody would have helped me and taught me. Yeah. And you line up 120-year-olds or 115-year-olds, I'm not going to be able to reach all of them, but I think we are changing the conversation and the social norm to this topic is now becoming cool. Handling and managing and making money go to work for you is no longer a taboo topic. It's one that a lot of young people are interested in.
I've noticed that for sure, having two millennials of my own, a 24 and a 21-year-old. They're in your sweet spot. They'll call you.
Yeah, they're all right. Booyah, I got a course for them.
There you go. You got a course. Well, so, give us a little flavor of, if I set you up in front of a room full of college students, right? We'll call them current college students because many of them are not in rooms anymore. They're in Zoom. But
they are.
You even have a virtual room. What are the 3 to 5 things you love for them to just know? And you don't have to say how they would know it or give all the background because that's part of your course, but just what are those 3 to 5 things that they should just know if they really want to manage their money and be smart about it?
Oh, yeah. And I have no hesitation in giving this stuff away. Truly, where our mastery comes in is that we are teaching these fundamentals. Where we are standing apart is that we do it in an entertaining way, we do it in an engaging way, and we try to hold you accountable. So, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I definitely go over the standards of goal setting, of compound interest, time value money, and these things. But where we want to do it is give it a new kind of vocabulary, a new mindset, and even the title of our course, Money Vehicle. We want you to see it differently. So many people say $1 million, that's my destination. It's like, no. $1 million represents something to you, represents a lifestyle. That is your goal. That money is the vehicle, the tool that will get you there. So I love to introduce students to this concept we call money buckets. And my claim is that Jeff Bezos and somebody getting their first paycheck has the same 5 choices with every dollar they make. And money without a purpose is a problem. So we want to give each dollar a purpose and tell it what to go do. And this system is meant to be simple, and it is meant to be easily implemented. So we start with the 5 choices. Society, which is going to be taxes, and everybody has a natural negative death and taxes kind of feel, but we challenge that idea of looking around our society and seeing all that taxes support. And then in the course, we do dive into gross and net and the progressive income tax, but we want to begin with that first choice of being society. Then we go to our past choices. We declare those as anything due before the first of the month. Debts, bills, and our millennials and Gen Y and Gen Z are getting hit with subscriptions. Marketing models have changed. They don't ask you to buy anything. They want you to rent it month in and month out.
Yeah.
So how can we review those past choices? Then we look at our present choices. This is the easy one, our daily decisions. And again, I don't say don't spend money or anything like that, but we want to be conscious, and we start to look at, and with my students at my university, as well as students we do through the course, I look at it and I just say, hey, calculate the last 10 things you bought or the last things you spent money on. How many of them landed in your present choice? And just be conscious of how heavy tilted you are there.
Right.
Then we go to future choice, which is the, one most people want to discuss. And we definitely talk about investing, but it is not the focus of the course or the subject. And so we look at future and we start to say, how can we start to employ our money? How can we make it go to work for us? And then we land in the 5th choice, and it's called the compassion choice. And science is actually telling us this is one that is going to lead to fulfillment and happiness. But what's really neat is this is chapter 3, just setting up this cash management system. I don't say the word budget. I think budget is limiting. I think cash management, I'm in control of instead of having something control me. Again, a mindset shift. And so that system right there, you can look at your paycheck. You can do it as a percentage. More importantly, you can start to automate with your accounts that we set up throughout the course, but you can start to automate through these accounts how to make this system work for you and how to make it as smoothly as possible. And what is really neat, and my last little tidbit of knowledge that I want to share, and we can continue going down this because we can go through all 10 questions, I don't care, is our mission right now is to open 1 million Roth accounts.
Ooh,
that
cool.
is our goal. That is chapter 10. So chapter 10 goes through the difference between a brokerage, a traditional 401k, and a Roth account, whether a 401k or IRA.
Yeah.
And we really dive into what are actions throughout each chapter. So you have to get to chapter 10 because you have to understand the tax incentives. You have to understand chapter 6 where we go into investing. You have to understand chapter 3 where we go through cash management to build into this chapter 10 action item of what is your best advantage at this moment as a young professional? We believe it's a Roth account for a lot of different reasons, and we dive into those.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I know that my daughter opened a Roth account.
Love it.
Yeah, and my son is probably well on the way. So I'm going to encourage them both to do your course. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Now, is the name of the course Your Money Vehicle? Is that what you called it? Or tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So we called the book Your Money Vehicle because the book you actually get sent and it's something that you are going to hold, but it could be called Your Money Vehicle. We just shortened it to Money Vehicle for the course. But why we intentionally had that title, Your Money Vehicle, is number one, it's yours. It's not mine. It's not Lindsay's. It's not your parents, your friends, whoever. You have to sit in the driver's seat of your money vehicle. And we really wanted to incentivize that idea of money as a verb, money as something that is the intermediary and not the objective. And so as we start to look at money as something that we use no different than a tool or an actual vehicle or car, we start to have a different relationship with it. And it stops controlling us and we start controlling it. And that is, as we pass through, students in this young generation, we start to really see that movement starting to happen around the mindset shifts. Don't use the word budget. Don't use the word retirement because those things are past and old. I don't even use emergency fund. We call it Corona cushion. because everybody today knows what that means.
Right.
And so as we look at it, we want to change the dialogue and we want to change your perspective. You have a cash management system that leads to your freedom. Why? Because that traditional form of retirement is gone. We can retire it. And that's chapter 1.1 of why money is such an important topic today, is because the financial landscape has changed over the last 20 years.
Boy, it sure has. And I'll tell you what, I think our youth and next generation leaders are entering into a new world of finance and money, and how things are actually going to change over the next 10 years is still a little unknown. But I see some things, even with cryptocurrencies and other changes happening at the Fed level. We could see some very different ways that we manage and think about our money, and having a new vocabulary and just thinking about it and how to manage it is an absolutely brilliant opportunity right now. So I'm so grateful that you love this.
I love it. And what's neat is, as I step out and try to be a thought leader in this space, people just help me in this pursuit. Our mission is to help people use money, USE, understand money, strategize money, and be efficient with their money.
Yeah.
And technology today is amazing. There's obviously a lot of predators out there that are trying to steal from you, but there is a company being born every day, especially through this new virtual setting, that says, what is your objective? Insurance, 529 accounts, freedom, to investing, whatever it is. We're trying to make it as easy and as applicable for you using the device you're already on, which is your phone. So it is really neat to see this new age of investors and this new age of people focusing on their financial freedom, because technology and companies today are targeting you and want to help you.
Yeah. Oh, such a good time to be alive and to be learning all this stuff. So you're correct. I would be very curious if you're aiming for, I think you said 1 million Roth accounts to be open, right?
Mm-hmm.
What it seems like you need is access to more people who would be interested in participating in the course and finding out more. When you think about that, who would you love to talk to? Like, if you think about, are you going to be doing webinars to get people engaged? Are you doing live things, although it's COVID, but what are you doing? And so how can we help you get those people to you? What would that look like?
So this is what I'm most excited to kind of see. COVID-19 absolutely disrupted our business, our model, how we are moving forward. But in the end, as the dust settles, it really allowed us to see what our business is going to be and how we're going to capitalize on being in a space that nobody really is playing in yet. Everybody is rushing to virtual content. Money Vehicle had a virtual financial literacy course already built at the beginning of all of this. And so now we are having those conversations with national organizations, college campuses, high school superintendent in districts about an applicable course that everybody's been asking for. And I hate saying this as like I talk to people about it, but I'm like, hey, you know that class that everybody says they wish they had for the last 30 years? We created it. And we not only created it, we made people smile as they go through it. This is not the same old boring money class. This is something that introduces a new character pretty much each chapter. You look at it and you can think it's funny, it's corny, it's silly, but you smile. And if you smile, you're more likely to watch it again. So who we want to connect with are anybody who deals with large groups between those age groups, 15 to 24, 25-year-olds, really people who are interested in how to handle their first paycheck, either before it arrives or as it's arriving. We've found a lot of traction with Greek systems. We've found a lot of traction with athletic groups, departments on colleges or clubs and teams. We've had a lot of traction just getting into universities and saying, hey, can you offer this to 20,000 students on our campus? Yes, we can. And those are the conversations that we're having today around the accessibility. Nobody out there has an entertaining and virtual money class. And I'm excited to share that the kind of cherry on top is we end with a certification. So you end earning a financial literacy certification, which is a great resume builder as you look to go off to college, or a great resume builder as you look to get your first job. it's not going to, get you in the door or solidify the deal, but I will guarantee it's an interesting conversation in an interview.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you, that's one of my personal passion zones you just intersected with, which is how do we provide just-in-time learning and self-directed learning for high school and college kids that would allow them to garner skills that are actually relevant now. And
Yes.
this is a conversation we can have in a whole other podcast. but I do see the value in having a student take accountability for their financial literacy, and getting a certification in that really supports their ability to get another job, let alone get into a college. So I think that's amazing. Well done.
I love that intention, and I think you and I are at the kind of forefront of where higher education is going, because they are having to pivot. Like it or not, they are being forced to pivot. And we are offering this new age kind of welcoming of what education should look like, how it's adapted, where it's modeled. I've talked to two gentlemen who are big podcasters and influencers in that space, and yet there's no podcast course or lesson taught on higher education. You say, this is a medium delivering millions of people. We need to be able to, if this is an interest of yours, you need to be able to find it. And for better or worse, it doesn't matter what major or what job you get into, money is something you're going to have to deal with. If for nothing else than to use it to bring you that peace of mind so you don't have to worry about it. But that is what's really neat about this, just as you said, just-in-time type of education.
It's perfectly timed. So, Jedediah, I'm so excited. I know that we're going to make it possible for people to find your course through Earth.University. So that's
Absolutely.
already happening in the background. But for now, while we're getting all these ducks lined up, and to support your Million Roths, because I think it's amazing,
Yes.
can you please tell our listeners how they can reach you or find you? What would
Absolutely.
they do? Mm-hmm.
So yourmoneyvehicle.com is going to be the easiest way. That will take you straight to the course. You'll be able to jump in. It is on demand. It is virtual. And you get to decide not only the pace and speed, but really how much you want to, or how quickly you go through it. So yourmoneyvehicle.com for the course. I love connecting with students, with people who have ideas, with partnerships. I mean, a Million Roth accounts, I want to remain as objective as possible. Those are not going to be started under Jed Collins or Money Vehicle. They got to go somewhere. So people who look at it through that frame, and really how I want to get it onto campuses is by having credit unions and banks sponsor it, because they want access to those students as well.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at me from a social media perspective, LinkedIn is obviously going to be my name at Jedediah Collins, but then Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok is going to be Fullback of Finance. And I smile when I say TikTok. I've been on there less than a month. We have almost 4 million views, and we went from 20 followers to 20,000 in about 2 weeks. So
that's awesome.
Something's working. Yeah.
Something's working. Way to go. That's so cool. You're going to have a Twitch channel too. You know that, right?
That's you're absolutely right. That is the next evolution.
Well, Jed, it's just such a pleasure to have you here. You are clearly aligned to your passion. And for anybody who's watching right now, if you can't see that by listening and watching this human, I don't know what else to tell you. This is what it looks like when someone is following their purpose and passion and getting into service to others. So that's so much what we're about at Earth University. And I thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Lindsay, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun. So to everybody else who's listening out there, please join us again. For all of our passion professors, we have so much information for you that can just assist you in finding your own passion and supporting you and getting involved in some of these great projects. I like to think of them as passion projects. So join us again here at the Passion Professor Podcast. And I'm your host, Lindsay Andriotti, and I'll see you next time.